Is that not working? Oh, we're live. There we
Oh,
go.
we like. Oh, superb.
All right. Hi, guys. How you doing? Welcome back to the first Tat Chat of 2018. I can't get
It,
used to saying it.
2018, yeah.
I don't actually know what number we're on. I didn't put it in the title. I'll have to check. 100 and something. Yeah. How you doing, mate?
I'm doing fine. Just feeling a little bit rough, but just a bit of a, the seasonal cold that goes round. Everyone had it, and then it's my turn now.
Yeah.
So, but other than that, yeah, pretty happy. Just
Yeah, we were just saying you've been caning the numbers since Christmas, which is awesome.
yeah, we've been I mean, yeah, just to say hi to everyone, welcome. But yeah, we've been Beck and I both literally from Boxing Day onwards. I don't know what's come over us. It's probably a case of needs must, I suppose, and we've just been listing a lot. So just now, even now, just like I said, we've done 15 and then 12 12 more drafts. So getting going, and it's paying off, definitely.
List it and it will sell.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got a load of people, and 65 people have popped in already, so that's fantastic. Welcome, Happy New Year, and all that jazz. Let's say a few quick hellos. We've got Bumcrack Picker, Peter Ray, always early regulars. James Collects says he's got this on in the background. There's Brian in there, Electronic Firing Squad. Gary, Southwest Sellers, Happy New Year, mate.
Yeah, happy new year to everyone. Hope it's all good and all that jazz. I'm kind of glad that it's so. I'm gonna come across as a bit of a grouch or a Grinch, but kind of glad it's all over. I'm like, yeah,
I really enjoy the break, but I do quickly get kind of itchy to start working again. I mean, we've done nothing. I was saying to you before we went live, we've done nothing since just before Christmas, and today I threw myself back into it. I've been through my entire inventory and stock check. We haven't done Andrew's clothing yet, which is more than my stock, and I found 10 items that weren't even listed. They were sat on the shelves, been there forever, weren't even listed. They're just fallen off eBay. So it's well
crazy.
worth doing just to go through and do a stock take, basically.
That's definitely something to bear in mind. Like when you mentioned that, that was a little bit scary because especially when you start like listing tons and tons of stuff, you expect it to just remain live, but it can
Yeah,
easily happen, can't it, where things just fall off and
I don't know how it happens, whether it's a glitch within eBay or whether I mess it up when I'm relisting somehow, or what happens. I don't know. But yeah, there was quite a few bits. Some of which I'm just going to get rid of because it was old crappy stock that was never going to sell anyway. Some of it I've relisted. A couple of bits are going up to Amazon to try them up there. But yeah, it was worth doing, definitely. All right, let me just scroll to the end of the chat. You were kind of inspired by a post today on the Tat
yeah,
Chat.
well, I mean, the Tat Chat is just amazing. Just a quick shout out, I suppose, for the group, but the Tat Chat group has just grown so quickly, and there's such a diverse like range of people joining, and today was a great example of that. I mean, there was definitely like a thread that I was definitely kind of inspired by, and it was actually by one of like a more recently joined member. It's Haley Bailey, and she posted actually
That's a
like,
great name. I love that name.
yeah, she actually posted like a 60-day sales screenshot, which is always kind of motivational anyway. But when you see that, they've only been going, I think they said for about 3 years in total, and they've now gotten their turnover on eBay up to, like 20K in 60 days, which is mind blowing. Like I would absolutely love to have that. But what was nice is we saw a little bit of context behind what it takes to achieve that as well. And I think she was brave enough to post up a few screenshots of what the house looks like. And you really do have to give up a lot of living space. And it reminds me of something that you've mentioned, that when you guys were renting your home back in the day, how your house, you only had like a small 2 bed, and you said it was like,
Yeah, we filled our house up with junk, and we
yeah,
just had Ellen. This was when we both quit our jobs and went full time, and our house was like this but worse. you know, we had downstairs was about the size of this entire room. So we had like a kitchen and one room downstairs, and it was just stuff stacked everywhere. Our bedroom was full of it. Like underneath Ellen's cot and all around her bedroom was just stock. It was insane. But that's what it took to kind of really get the business going when we started.
And I think that's a really interesting thing, isn't it? Because it shows that it's great to see those sales figures, but it's also great when you get an idea of what it takes, and then you know, that was like, you know, I saw that and I was like, wow, that's amazing, that the range of people we've got, from people that have just started and people that are turning over insane amounts. And obviously we all know turnovers just for show, blah blah blah. It's still impressive. It is still. I think sometimes it's very easy, especially on the internet, to be a bit too like quick to be like, oh yeah, but how much profit? And it's obviously important, but it's not important to you because you're not living their life. As long as it's enough for the person that's doing that turnover, as long as the profit is there for them, that's what matters. But however, what you can take as a third party looking in is, irrespective of the actual margin, to turn over that amount is impressive on its own. And I think sometimes it's easy to overlook that, because graft is involved.
That thread itself was all about goals, and they've clearly set themselves out goals and targets, and they're seemingly smashing it, which you know, is amazing in itself. I quickly need to stop the chat for a moment because I just noticed Stephen Steffer in.
Oh, hi.
Sorry. And now I told you earlier, I got a package. I spoke to them earlier, and they said it's not very exciting. You don't need to open it live on air, but I thought, yeah, I'm gonna. So this arrived, and it's addressed to us, but there's a gift for you guys in here as well.
Oh wow.
So we'll have a quick look. I've opened the outer one, but inside, because they're the resale killers, it's in like crime
scene tape. Wow.
Yeah, that out. And there's one each. This one says, please give to Zahir and Beck. So I'll be sending that one up to you.
Thank you.
It's the same as what I've got. So I might spoil the surprise.
Oh, no, it's fine. It's fine. Please do. Stephen Steph, epic.
So what I love about this, they've got their own post-it notes, look, with Stephen Steph on.
With resale, that is so cool. Oh, these guys, they're going all out.
It says, Stephen Steph, resale killers, enjoy your life or else.
You know what that reminds me of? Have you seen Fight Club, Nick?
Yes.
Do you remember the scene when Tyler Durden finds that guy that's meant to be becoming a vet, but he ends up working in a 7-Eleven, and they say to him, I'm going to check back on you in a year's time, and if you're not on your way to reaching your goals, like, enjoy your life or else.
I've not seen it since like the 90s.
Oh, that film is burned into my mind. Just
let me quickly read this. It says, Nick and Andrea, thank you so much for having these two killers on your channel. Loved getting to know you two. Hope we meet in person one day. Fantastic. That would be amazing. I mean, we are hoping to go to America this year, so that would be on the wrong side, and we'll be completely opposite sides from them. And then it says, yo-yo. Let's say yo-yo. What is yo-yo?
I can't see the contrast on the maybe saying like yo-yo, like yo.
Yo-yo, Steve Steph and little Jerry Seinfeld. Oh, Jerry the dog. That must be. Anyway, let me quickly unwrap this. I can get in it.
Ooh, yep, definitely.
I can't get in it.
Well packaged. Okay.
I've got a blunt knife.
Oh no, but it's important. We've just to say a quick hi to the 124 people who have joined us.
Have we? That got up quick.
125 now, so welcome everyone.
I have my very own serial killer's knife.
Oh, that is so cool. That is.
Check this out. It's branded with.
Oh my god! How is that not cool? They're too modest. Steve and Steph, you guys are too modest. That has to be. I hope that's what we've gotten as well now. Not to be demanding or anything, but you know, now I've got to have one of those.
Nick and Andrea, enjoy your life or else.
That is so cool.
In blood, no doubt.
Oh yeah, definitely blood. That is fantastic.
That is amazing. Cheers, guys.
I mean, what an example of the resale community. It's a box resizer on the other end, says Steve and Steph.
A box resizer?
Yeah, that's one of those things that are like a pizza cutter.
Yeah, yeah. Look, so you run that
Oh,
on your
that's
cardboard.
yeah.
You have one of those.
Now that is so cool.
Oh my
I,
god, this is so gonna get
that
used.
is the coolest thing. I think there needs to be like a review video or something. I'm gonna do an unboxing and a review. That is amazing.
Wow. Thank you so
Yeah,
much, Stephen Steph.
a scoring
Blown
wheel.
away.
That's it. Amazed that got through customs without issues as David McGregor.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh,
Serial killer knives written on the
yeah,
custom.
yeah. It's
Side
some kind of some kind of an underground club where murderers share like their weapons. Like, like, hey, I use this. This is pretty good. I think you should try it out.
yeah. Cuts
Yeah,
through
just
flesh easily.
really good.
Oh, that's so
Absolutely
cool.
fantastic.
Can't wait to show Andrea when she gets back. She's gone out to her nan's, but
Oh, that is
I
so
wanted
cool. Yeah,
to so yeah, this will be winging its way to you guys.
that is so cool. Absolutely amazing. Really, really like I'm excited, and I've not even got it here yet. But thank you guys. That was amazing, Stephen Steph.
Yeah, they're in the chat, so
Yeah,
that you can link through to their channel if you haven't already. So make sure you do that.
definitely.
Right. So where were we? I've completely
What?
lost the word now.
Yeah, that's it. We lost the plot now completely. But yeah, getting back to the thread that we were talking about on the chat group where people were obviously posting their sales. Haley Bay were posting the sales, and I was just saying that irrespective of the margin behind the numbers, when someone is doing that amount of business, there's graft involved and there's organization and logistics involved that you can still take a lot of inspiration from. And I think further to that, then Haley actually started another little post, which I think is the kind of title of our chat today. Like, what are your long-term goals? Are you reselling for life, or is there something more to it? And I always think that's an interesting topic because it's we're all quite passionate about what we do, aren't we? Otherwise we wouldn't have taken the steps that we have. I mean, you have to be passionate about reselling. And one of the comments on there that I saw was, eventually I want to be reselling for life, but I want to move on to houses. So just
I saw that. Yeah.
yeah. And I think that's something that's so cool because in a way, reselling is such a broad term, isn't it? It's not necessarily confined to selling on eBay. You could be using that term in many different ways. I mean, it can be applied to property or cars or whatever. You decide how you do things, and in a way you're always going to be reselling, and unless you're going to start creating, you're going to be reselling. And it's all about pretty much everything boils down to sales, doesn't it? I mean, whether you're selling online, whether you're selling like Steve and Steph do at local meets. I mean, that's a completely unique idea that they're pretty much all local game, aren't they? But and you can decide to either be happy with that, or you can have dreams and aspirations to do a lot more and use this as a springboard, maybe.
Exactly. I think you're only limited by your ambition, really. And it was interesting in that thread, people were sharing what their goals are, and I put in there what my goals were and what they are now, because it naturally evolves with you. And when we started, our initial goal was to pay the bills, and we couldn't see past that, and we shouldn't have been seeing past that, because that was our immediate issue. We were renting a house, we had a baby, we'd quit our jobs. It was just sell stuff quick, pay bills.
Yeah.
And then once we'd got that going and we were comfortable that we were coping with that, it was then we moved up, we started to scale it up. And then eventually a year or so later, we set ourselves a new target of buying a house. And then we moved on to, well, once we achieved that, we then moved on to another goal, which was, well, we bought a flat, and then we outgrew that. So then it was buy a house, and then it was pay off the mortgage. And then we've come all the way through those goals to the point now where it's kind of gone backwards on itself. We now want to do work less and enjoy life more. And that's more of our goal, not to not to achieve less, but to work less, I think. And
Yeah.
I'm finding that difficult, but it's a strange goal to have, but that is kind of where we're at now. And also to try new things, to have the freedom financially to experiment and fail and experiment, try new
Yeah.
things that maybe won't work out,
I
and
mean,
not have the
efficiency
fear.
is a thing, isn't it? I mean, to do things more efficiently, there's no harm in aiming for that. And in a way, I think like some Apple fans out there that like listening to Steve Jobs speeches will remember he once famously talked when he first came back to Apple, like after they booted him off. He once talked about like Maslow's theory of hierarchy, like how, what you mentioned there is really cool. Like your goals change, don't they, according to your needs. So he talks about how your very first natural goal is to have like a roof over your head and have food. And it very much reminds me like when I started reselling, my main aim was to be able to earn at least what I was earning in my low paid job.
Mhm.
And then from there it's then yes, it has been, and it has been very recently, still is about paying our bills, just to be able to afford both of our, so it started with just me replacing my wage, and then it's moved on to replacing Rebecca's wage, which was much more difficult because her wage was far more substantial than what I was earning. So replacing her wage has been a real challenge. But it's now gotten to the stage now where we're just about kind of getting to that level, and we're able to consistently do that. And then your goals keep changing from that. Like you said, it's about earning more now, and like being able to go for our next goal, which I mean, we've got a number of things that we want to achieve, but it is very much that thing about like the theory of hierarchy. It's so amazing because it applies to all of us, right? I mean, your first goal is always to have a roof over your head, to have food, to be able to eat, and then you start thinking about other things. And as your reselling business, as you start out in business, I mean, you're starting out as self-employed. First you're self-employed, then you're a reseller, I suppose, is the way to look at it.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was just thinking, listening to you talk then as well. I think it really is important to have achievable goals as well, because then you get that momentum of and that satisfaction of saying, okay, that was what I was heading for. I'm here now.
Yeah.
And then you can build from it. I suppose if you set yourself a goal that's too far in the distance, you're going to lose that momentum
Yeah.
getting there. It's too big a mountain to climb. So yeah, ones that are achievable, have something in the distance maybe as well, but have achievable goals, right in front of you.
Short term and long term, yeah. I mean, like definitely our short term goal really is to become completely debt free. I mean, we've still got debts that we had from when we were working and stupid before, and we're just still, we're getting to the stage now where we can actually start working on them, which is really amazing. It's kind of like, it's just so nice to see that happen. But that doesn't mean that we don't have these long-term goals, because long-term goals are like, I think long-term goals, if anything, they're equally important, because imagine if your only goal, and this is something like Jim Rohn's talked about before. I'm loving all these things where setting goals is like a skill in itself. Like if your goal is something just as mundane or as depressing as just like, oh, I've got to pay my bills this month, that alone is not going to get you out of bed on a Monday morning if that's all you've got to look forward to, is to work to just pay your bills. So you've got to have that goal, because that's your immediate goal. And if you don't pay your bills, you're going to be like, you're going to have your electricity shut off, or you're going to be out of your house or whatever. But you can't just have that goal. You've got to also have that long-term goal that can motivate you to get out of bed and achieve the short-term goal, but also work on that bigger goal as well.
Yeah, I think you have to have something that excites you on a personal level,
Yeah,
beyond I've got to pay £500 rent in a week, which will motivate you in the short term. But
exactly. But it's a
that's
kind
all
of depressing goal if that's all you've got to live for.
that's what I was going to say. If that's all your life is, just on that treadmill, and you're not thinking, what do I want out of life personally, and having that personal target of achievement, then yeah, you're just on a treadmill paying the landlord, and what's the point, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's interesting because I'm starting this new venture with the whole designing these pub stamps, and trying to create this kind of treasure hunt, real world treasure hunt thing with pubs. I'm at year dot with that now. I spent last night, I was up to the small hours, getting an email list and working out where I'm going to start it and the plan for that. And I've set up mini goals already for that. and goal number one is to get 10 pubs that are keen from a starting point, which is Hitchin, and then expand it out from there. And I'm having to start with micro goals because the whole thing scares the hell out of me. It's a huge idea, and I can see exactly where I want it to go. But if I think big on this, it stops me in my tracks.
And that's a fantastic point you've made there, actually, because sometimes like, you know, bringing it back to the reselling, and like the you know, the sometimes what we all see is when people post what they've achieved, or like, for example, when we share sales or whatever, and you get people that are often inspired by that, but then there's always a little group of people that maybe get disheartened by it. And I think that's a really good point that you've posted there, that even, you know, with all your experience, you've started a completely new thing here, which isn't reselling, but it's really cool to see that you're willing to say, I'm starting at like dot, and you're having to set really what could be seen as like tiny small goals, but you're aware that you have to do that because you're starting from scratch. You're not Hasbro. You can't go to, you know, you can't go to like a bunch of pubs and say, hey, we're Hasbro, you know, we want to make a game about you, and they'll be falling over themselves to have their name on a board, for example. I know it's not the same, but you get my gist.
Yeah. But the thing is, with creating anything, you can't get to the top of the ladder without standing on that first rung. You can't jump up. You have to start small, and I find that sometimes really difficult because I think big thoughts, and I see everything. That wonderful word, extrapolate. I come up with an idea and then I extrapolate, and my head's up here somewhere. Whereas actually, I've got to do all the groundwork, and that's where I'm at. I'm at the really weird point where I've got to explain this thing to people. I've got to, you know, fire out all these emails and get a very kind of complicated idea across to people who don't know who I am, don't know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean?
You have to win them over, yeah.
Finding it difficult. And yeah, at some point I'm going to have to go in and talk face to face, and people watching this will assume I'll be fine with that. But that part of it really scares me. So that's still another challenge to come, because I'm going to have to go and chat with these people and arrange stuff at some point.
And win them over.
Yeah.
But that's just it, guys. Like when you see people posting, you know, like 20 grand in 60 days, you know, bear in mind that didn't happen straight away. You know, that doesn't happen immediately, and you might only be at a tenth of that figure or even less. Don't worry about it. You just have to accept that, you know, that could be your long-term goal, maybe, and maybe also think about, do you, like, why would you want that amount as well? It's not always about just, you know, oh wow, that's amazing, I want that. What your goals have to be, your goals have to be relevant to you. Like, do you even need to have 20k turnover, or do you even need to, like, what do you want from your lifestyle? And that's got to affect your long-term goals. Don't get kind of rushed along with someone else's passion or someone else's goals. You might see, you know, for all we know, Haley Bailey might be working towards like a Koenigsegg or a Zonda or a Lamborghini, right? So maybe that's what's motivating her to get out there and really, you know, smash the sales out. Now, if you're not interested in exotic supercars, you're not going to necessarily, you know, if all you want is, I don't know, like a nice pair of trainers or something, you're not, if that's your goal, then
I think that's a really good point. And taking it back to our situation, sometimes I see those numbers and I think, wow, that's impressive. And it makes me think, am I doing enough? But I then have to relate back to me. We're comfortable, we're fine, we're doing enough to be happy, comfortable, enjoying what we're doing. The numbers, it's not that they're irrelevant now, and we do use them to inspire ourselves, but we don't need that. So that's not our goal. And I do, even now, I get swept up in that and think, I want to do more. I want to make those numbers.
Wow, yeah.
But I don't, that's not my goal anymore, which is weird. And I'm still learning to kind of accept that. I don't really want to be bigger and better anymore. I want to be happy and relaxed. And that's the goal in itself. Being stress-free and being comfortable can be your goal. And that is kind of where Andrea and I are. We want to take more holidays, we want to take more time out, and we don't want to get stressed about stuff.
There you go. And it's very true, because like you said, we get swept away with that stuff as well. And it's good to get swept away to an extent. It's good to be inspired, right?
Yeah,
But
don't get me wrong. Yeah.
but like you said, always bring it back to your situation. You might find, like, when I sometimes see these figures, I think, oh wow, are we doing enough? But when I think about it, I'm like, my aim was to just replace my wage. I'm already way above that now. And like, what were my job prospects in the world of employment? I'd been stagnant at my income level, and I'm already earning way more than I ever could have done in employment. So already I'm doing so much better than I ever could have in a job. So even though it's nowhere near what other people are earning reselling, it's still a big achievement for us, and we're really proud of it. And I'm like, I'm so proud of what we've achieved. That it's and to some people it's nothing.
That's so important, that you can keep that focus on your own situation and where you're going, and be able to look back at where you've come from, because it is so easy to get swept up in so and so's doing X numbers. Why aren't I?
And that's not to say that I don't want those things. I'll be the first to say I want a Lamborghini. I'd love nothing more. I mean, actually, I often speak to Beck and say I have like a dream. Like, we've got this, like, you've been to our town centre. It's all nice and quiet and like a kind of cobbled and whatever. And I'd love nothing more than to have like some kind of a pimped out car with the bouncy suspension, like in Still Dre. And I'd just love to be the obnoxious guy up in Garstang who drives this car and bounces. I'd love to do something like that. It's gregarious and ridiculous, but that's a goal I've got. I'm still gonna do that, maybe. But I am currently happy with the progress that we've made. And I recognize that it takes time. Really does take time. I wish there was like a super quick like speed up method, and maybe some people have that, but I think that it really does take time to build these things.
Definitely. I was just reading back in the chat.
Yeah, definitely. Got 170 people nearly watching.
Craft said earlier today, my dad would have been 64. He passed away 10 years ago, never getting to retirement, but had a very good philosophy on work to live, not live to work.
Yeah, definitely. That's going to be something that's obviously stick with Karen, and it's a great philosophy definitely to have. I think
Adam Kelsey says the elevator pitch, Nick, look into it. I don't know what the elevator pitch is, but I will look into it. Perhaps that's to do with getting my idea across to people or something. I don't know.
Okay, fair enough.
Elevator pitch. You may be able to hear Monty.
Stephen Steph said, started my daily cold showers yesterday.
Monty was trying to open your package then.
I only lasted 13 seconds, baby steps. Yeah,
I saw that. I don't know if that's Steve or Steph that's taking daily cold showers.
Maybe they're both doing it. I don't know. But yeah, that's a Tony Robbins thing, that is, isn't it? I'm pretty sure he takes cold showers every morning.
There's no way I would ever do that.
No,
no way on earth. I love a warm shower. Cold shower is just crazy. It's crazy. But if it works for you, then carry on, Stephen Steph.
Exactly. I mean, that is quite it's a crazy thing to do, but apparently it's meant to really get your metabolism going and stuff.
Well, it will certainly wake you up.
Action or something. I don't know.
Yeah, Peter Cummins says, cold showers, why would you do that? Exactly. Illinois Picker is in. Hi there. He says, we don't have to be Steve Jobs. We just have to be the best version of ourselves.
Very true. Very true.
Bring everything back to yourself and who you are. There's no point in trying to be something that's unachievable, but you can use it to improve who you are, potentially.
Yeah, I mentioned him merely because that reference he made in one of his his not speeches, his presentations. Mentioned, but like Maslow's theory of hierarchy is like an actual thing, isn't it? It's like an actual, you can study it. So
I'll have to look into it. I've never even heard of it.
It's
Steve Jobs was amazing at inspiring people. He had his faults. He had some major faults, as we all know, but he was an incredibly inspiring people, and he got the best out of others. I think that was one of his true talents. He inspired all the people around him to create his vision. He had the vision, but he couldn't make half the stuff.
No, and Illinois Picker actually makes a really good point, as that it's also important to remember that with more success comes more volume, more time, and work. So something will be sacrificed when something else gets better, and that's very true to remember. I mean, yeah, that's why I mentioned that when Haley Bailey posted those sales figures, she was she also posted what rooms in her home look like. Now, I know, me and Beck, we have this chat all the time. We do struggle with stock invading our home. And it might seem like a really small thing, guys, but when it will eventually start to grate on you. Your home is it's meant to be your home. It's meant to be your house. It's where you're meant to feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And even if you put things out in the corner, even if you put them out of sight, they're there, and eventually that can get to you. Like when you've got like a display cabinet, and instead of displaying like a family photo, you've got it stuffed full of die-cast cars or something. It's just not cool. It's just not like when the summertime hits us now, right? We have got this is probably the nicest room in the house. This I can imagine in the summertime, it would be great to chill out in here, the conservatory area, etc. And it's just a stockroom office for us, and that sucks. It really does. There's no way around it. So
it's all about compromise, isn't it? It's part of the compromise of working from home. It's part of what you gain from working from home and working for yourselves, but you have to take, it's give and take. And yeah, I know exactly what you mean. We have it slightly easier, I guess, because this is outside of the house. Well, it's part of the house, but it's set to one side, and so is Andrea's, but it's always just there.
Yeah.
And it's always, it's like eBay.
Sometimes wish, what if you had that space for yourself, don't you? You sometimes must wish that it would be nice to have that extra space.
We could expand the kitchen into here. We could have this as a really nice lounge area.
Yeah.
Huge downstairs space.
It's a sacrifice, isn't it? It's a sacrifice. You think about the percentage of the home that's taken up with stock and or space to do the job. So definitely, just something to bear in mind. It might seem like a minor, but it can easily become.
Going back to you were saying about when a business reaches a certain level, there's something that comes with that, which is stress. It's responsibility. There's all other things that come with it, like reaching VAT level, and things get easier on one level because financially you might be better off, but there's a whole load of stress. When we were turning over really big numbers with the shop, I was super stressed. I was doing 12 to 14-hour days. I was working 7-day weeks, and it was too much, and we burnt ourselves out. We achieved what we wanted to financially, but it was crippling, the stress and the amount of work we were doing. And I wouldn't want to go back there.
Yet some people would see that as like getting there, and that would be like I
don't think I could live like that long term. It was just so, and weirdly, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and a part of me misses it. But I know how much lighter I am now, and how much it's hard to describe. But the stress and the weight isn't there. I mean, we earn a fraction now of what we used to, but that's fine because of where we are now financially. So
really important. Yeah,
really interesting.
It's a balance, isn't it? That is a real give and take kind of scenario there.
Totally. Yeah, that's exactly what Illinois Picker. I don't know if we said that. Illinois Picker says it's important to remember with more success comes more volume, more time. Yeah, exactly what we're saying. Reseller Mum is in, says Happy New Year, everybody. Listening and working, but wanted to pop in to say hi. So hi there, Reseller Mum. Oh, my chat's just jumped. I've probably missed a load.
Yeah, no, I'm just going to scroll through as well because we've had a lot of comments come in. It's so nice to see people. I think we need to kind of get back into the chat a bit more, but it's so difficult because you get talking and you get elaborating on a point, and then it's. But I do want to be.
Fritz says, if everyone in this chat buys one item from each other, we'll have a wonderful evening.
that's that's a great idea. Um,
Sarah Taylor was in. She says, I donated all of my leftover stock to charity shop today, started a new year fresh and giving something back after the amount of stuff I got from them. Fantastic idea.
that is such a good idea. Yeah, that is actually a really good idea. Um, let's see what I can pick out from the chat as well.
Oh, Rick
Um,
is
yeah.
saying he's agreeing with you regarding the house. He says, I spent 6.5 thousand on a new conservatory and it's filled with stock.
Oh wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's painful.
I
You know.
wonder how many conservatories up and down the country are just like little warehouses of
Well, I
stuff.
mean, the thing is, I really like the fact that this has got a heated floor, and I can never have it on because there's always something on the floor that I'm afraid would overheat or get ruined or
Yeah.
whatever, and it's just so frustrating. It's it's just amazing. It is.
Karen says as well, sacrificed half my living room in a two-bed flat for reselling. Would be nice to have the space back, but need it for the money, so I have to give it up. Well, that's what we were saying about sacrificing. It is a give and take thing.
Yeah. UK Devils has a question. It says, Nick, for you to slow down a bit more family time, have you considered wholesale FBA? Like just
I've considered it. From my experience with wholesale, the margins are almost negligible, and with FBA, the amount of fees they take. I dare say it's doable, but what we're doing now is working on the level we need it to. So, yeah.
Yeah. I think the new year is such a great time to like have these kind of discussions and to set like goals out for yourself, and because there are so many opportunities, there's so many options available to you. When once you've kind of I suppose it's like going back to the point of being self-employed rather than seeing yourself as self-employed rather than just a reseller. And once, because don't pigeonhole yourself, I suppose, like you can see so many opportunities. Like people tried lots of different ways to earn an income from home, and just be open to them all, I suppose. And it's always nice to kind of to have that mindset, I think. So like reselling for life, you probably will be in some form or other. There's no shame in that. I think I plan to be reselling in one form or another now until
Exactly.
I can't work anymore. But that doesn't mean that's all I'm going to do.
If you look around the community in recent times, I mean, our good friend Texas Gal Treasures, she has been experimenting with all sorts of stuff, eBay and Etsy to start with. She went into Amazon, pulled out completely from Amazon within the space of a year, and then found merch, and is now that her business has veered off that way, and she's and it's evolving on a year by year basis. And Steve and Steph, another example of that, started with eBay and it's now gone all local, and they're experimenting with all sorts of stuff. And I think most small businesses do that to an extent. I think you've got to find out what works and move with where the money is and what excites you, and all of those things are factors.
And being able to see different people's journeys, I suppose, is the trick. Is, I suppose, to see what different people are doing in different niches, different spaces, whether that be reselling on eBay, reselling on Amazon, whether that be YouTube, or I don't know, like anything else, whatever, like merch by Amazon or whatever it could be, and seeing other people's journeys, or like the local game, like Steve and Steph are doing, and but rather than being like, oh, I've got to do that as well, just kind of seeing whether there's any lessons that you can take from it. So you might not be in an area where you can do a complete local game, like for example Steve and Steph do. For example, here in the UK, you don't have that market. There simply isn't, I don't think, that market to where you can, or there may well be that I'm ignorant of it, probably. I mean, market traders do travel all around the world to different fairs and whatnot, but it's a bit different. I think it's a bit more, I suppose, regulated or whatever. But
I think the apps will come in the UK, but it's more developed over there.
Early days.
Talking about local apps, yeah.
But you could still take a lesson from that, and maybe you can just add that in. So for example, like when Nick, you got that keyboard, normally you sell things online, either you sell them on eBay or on Amazon, but in that case you were still aware enough to be like, I can still make money on this item, I just will be selling it as a local item, collection only, or whatever, and just being open to that, I suppose. Selling it on a different, just selling it in a different way, even.
Yeah. I mean, we've said this before. I mean, if you follow all the channels and you get excited by all the different things that everyone's doing, it can become overwhelming. I think at some point you have to realize you can't do everything. You
Yeah.
can't be amazing at merch. You can't do Amazon FBA and eBay and Etsy and all the local apps and source. You just can't. Your brain will explode. So you have to experiment, try them out,
and see what.
And then there'll be some that naturally you will gravitate towards.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think
That's kind of where we're at. We're trying to work out what we really do want to do moving forward.
That's the thing. You have to, and to know what you want to do, you have to try it.
Yeah.
You have to try these things. Like, you might be trying things that are like completely different to what you're doing now. I mean, eBay is always a great entry, isn't it? Because it's what people are familiar with. Even when they're often when people are employed, they're still selling bits and pieces on eBay. Now, if anyone then transitions to working for themselves, working on eBay tends to be the first place that people start off at. But once you're there and you get that mindset of working for yourself and making money for yourself, that's the main part. It's not necessarily that you're doing it on eBay. It's the fact that you've gotten the courage to make money for yourself. And once you've gotten the courage to make money for yourself and you believe in yourself enough that you can actually earn an income without taking a paycheck from someone, that's when suddenly you can be like, oh wow, right, okay, I don't need a paycheck. I can make money for myself. And then you can be like,
part of it is confidence. It's self-confidence. And belief that, like you said, you can do it and you can pay the bills.
And then you can be like, well, how else can I pay the bills? What else is out there that can make me an income? Whether that be YouTube, whether that be marketing or merch or whatever else there is out there. There's so many things.
In the chat, Darren's just saying, I was reading back a minute ago, actually, Darren is moving house. So good luck with that, Darren. You'll have to let me know how you get on. He says 2018 will be a year of multiple income streams for me. Utilize all markets. So there you go. There's someone else who's going to try the markets, find out what works.
Well, definitely. I mean, got to try different things. You just have to. People making. I was just going back in the chat talking about bringing back Pimp My Ride, says Steve.
I remember that show. I loved that.
With Exhibit, I remember that. That was hilarious.
Karen No Crafts Just More says, I have about 80 auctions going at the Mo. If they don't sell, we'll get donated to charity. To be honest, as I want gone. We're thinking of running a load of clearance auctions on Andrew's kids' clothes. And if they don't sell, they're going to go. I've marked down loads of my stock that's left. I only have about 150 items left of mine, I think. And Amazon, I've had a load destroyed today. Last night I had a load of stuff recalled, and everything has been put on sale on Amazon. So we're
that shows that that's actually quite a big decision. I mean, some people will be like, "Oh wow, destroying your stock," but sometimes you have to, like you said, those are probably items that you tried and they didn't work out.
Yeah, it's a few books. It's a load of CDs that are really high ranked, and they're going to incur fees in February. Storage fees. So, and to get it recalled costs you X amount. They're not selling anyway. If I mark them down, I'll be losing money because they're that cheap already, some of them. So yeah, on stuff like that, unless it's worth something on eBay, I'll just get it destroyed.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been marked down for a while, so they haven't gone. So yeah. And when you consider
Lisa saying Happy New Year, so Happy New Year, Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
Way behind in the chat. way behind. Damn. I really started bucketing down with rain now. Right. Right. Steve and Steph being super kind, saying they can say I absolutely love watching and learning from the conversations you guys have. Always very smart, motivating, and funny. Thanks for doing it. That's a real compliment coming from you guys. Absolutely. Thank you for watching, really.
Really appreciate that.
Yeah. I mean, I think what's cool about these chats is these are kind of thoughts that often will pop in and out of all of our minds. I mean, I think throughout the, you know, the weeks, the months, the years, you'll often be thinking, oh, what am I doing? You know, am I doing the right thing? Is this still for me? You know, should
Yeah.
I, you know,
It's funny because I think people assume because we are on YouTube talking about it that we've got this sorted.
no.
We totally know what we're doing. And after the amount of time I've been in the game, you'd think so. But I have self-doubt. I have
Yeah.
days, weeks of what the hell am I doing? And then, but more so, I have days and weeks where I think I'm so lucky. I can lay in bed if I want to. I can go out and do nothing today, or I can sit in here and work and enjoy it and make some good money. It's like, yeah, but it's not always roses. And actually, Luke said, Luke, oh, I can't pronounce that surname, Wacklawek, maybe. Question for Nick and Zahir. Do you think people realize that becoming self-employed is a lot different and not so rose-tinted as it seems? I hope people realize it's not all roses. I mean, we've talked about it a fair bit, but that would be a good discussion just for itself on its own, I think, maybe for next week.
For what it's worth, I don't think people do. I think it's. I,
I think
I
people
don't
can
think they do.
sometimes just hear what they want to hear.
Yeah.
Going back to people sharing their wonderful sales figures, which is great and fine.
Yeah.
Sometimes people can just focus on the numbers and not think about the backstory, not think about all of the work, not think about the 14-hour days, not think about the stress, not think about the years that led up to being that efficient and good enough to create those numbers. And people do need to realize that you sacrifice a lot doing this. But yeah, maybe
There's
we'll talk
really
about
something to be said about being paid a wage, whether you work hard or you don't, whether you try hard or you don't. There's something to be said about that. You will work infinitely harder when you're self-employed. I think it doesn't matter what you're doing, by the way. That I think that's got nothing to do with whether your income's, you know, like there's always this other topic as well, isn't there? Like, you know, eBay's a very hands-on way of earning money, and there are much better passive income methods. You know, like people are out there like doing affiliate marketing or whatever, and they're like, oh, you know, I earn passive income or this or that. It doesn't matter, because even to achieve success in those markets, it's going to require like much more work than if you work and get a wage. That's my honest feeling, especially from where I came from. I'm just talking from my personal experience. I thought it'd be hard, but but I work hard anyway, you know, because I was working hard. Like when I was working at Harrods, I was doing 13, 14-hour days as well. Like when you travel to work and, you know, get on the train or get on the tube, and you do that both ways, and you're standing on your feet. You know, as a salesman, I was standing on my feet all day, you know, being super polite all day. That's hard in itself, you know.
I think the difference is, I think it comes down to, it's like your mind isn't free. Your mind is always in the job.
Yeah.
And when you work for somebody, you have a kind of remit. Everything here is my problem. Everything up there is someone else's. I get this problem, I hand it over to that person.
Yeah.
When it's your business, the buck stops with you. Every problem is yours. Every issue is yours. Every email that comes in, you've got to deal with. You can't pass it on to some bloke to deal with. You know, and that's the difference. It's the mental pressure of it. You know, I think physically we probably don't work any harder than a lot of people that we know, but mentally it's always there, and you've got that pressure that it's down to you. Everything is down to you. Everything is your problem.
And I really think that it's also one of those things that you won't ever grasp how difficult it is until you've taken the plunge and tried it out. And then basically it'll just be a case of whether you stick at it or you don't. You know, you might, but I do think that it's worth trying. So, you know, if it's something that you want to do, you've got to try it. And then that's the only way you'll find out whether you want to do this or not. You know, it's the only way, I think, because
I think knowing what you want to get out of it is key when you start. If it is earning $1 million, then fine. Let that be your ultimate goal. If it's more about lifestyle, then that's what you work towards. You know, if you want to work less and be comfortable, that can be your goal. But defining that perhaps when you go in is key, and having those goals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Talking about goals, Brian says in the chat there, he says, I'm all about goals. We have daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly goals. We don't base our sales off anyone else. We are bigger than many and smaller than many. The playing field is huge in this game. It is. I mean, there's always going to be someone bigger and better than you, and you need to accept that now. And there'll be people that are just starting out that are, looking up to where you are and admiring what you're doing. I mean, talking about sharing sales figures, I love it when new guys come in and they say, I hit £200 for the month, and they're excited. And it's like, that is an achievement as much as, the figures we were talking about earlier.
Completely.
And it's just a different rung on that ladder. It's a different part of that journey. It's all the cliches rolled into one.
It is, though. It completely is, and it's important. I think it's that context thing, isn't it? It's about context. You've got to be, because I suppose, like, for example, when you work for someone, and they will set your targets for you, so you don't have to think about your targets. You could have spent all your employed life never having to think about a goal, because your goals are preset for you. When you turn up to work, they will tell you what they expect that day. If it's a sales job, you're going to have a sales target. If it's like an administrative job, they're going to have a number of tasks that need to be completed that day. So you never have to set a goal. Then suddenly you work for yourself, and there's no one to set these targets but you. And if you suddenly then just see what others are doing, and you could be completely overwhelmed or underwhelmed. You might see someone who posts up and says, oh, today I've had a really good day, I've listed 5 things. And you might think, oh, that's naff, that's rubbish, only 5 items. And then you might see someone that's doing 50, and you might think, oh, well, that's too much. How I'm nowhere near that. Yeah. But those numbers, like you said, could be equally correct for the people involved. For someone that's super busy with a full-time job and then does other stuff when they get out of work, they might have lots of extracurricular stuff going on, or lots of I don't know, loads of different things going on. And for them, maybe that 5 items is all they can do, because they're managing to squeeze that in at 10:45 at night before they have to start a second job at 11:30 or something. You don't know what they're doing. So that could be impressive in a way, but the point is that when you start working for yourself, you've got no one to set these for you, and you have to like stumble and find your own way. And like, what's a good figure for you guys? Like, what's a good listing number, for example, or what's a good sales number? It's like a journey to find these.
And then it's finding that weird balance between motivating yourself to work enough or more when needed, and then allowing yourself to take time off. Be easy on yourself and not beat yourself up. And I veer violently from one to the other, and it's like finding that middle ground, just saying, yep, I'm happy with what I'm doing, but then, I need to motivate myself to do this, and I have these goals and I have this, but I'm trying to achieve doing less, so I should be happy that I haven't.
I mean, one of my goals for this year, and I'd almost forgotten about it until you'd said that, is to actually take like days where we don't do any work. Since doing this, we've stopped taking days off. We don't have days off. I can't remember the last time I had a day off, like an actual.
That is so common with self-employed people. If you talk to anybody, people forget to take time out. It's like it consumes you, and it's so common. But it's really important to take that, to get a little bit of perspective, even if it's just taking the day off and going and have lunch in a pub. You get that tiny bit of perspective on your job or your work, and you can see things clearer. And we don't do it enough. And
I find it has to be planned, though, if that makes any sense. Like, I find that, because we've done that before, where we've decided, oh, you know what, let's take a lunch at a pub. But if you've done it in the moment, like you've just done it randomly, you still don't feel like you've taken time off, if you know what I mean. Like, I think I need something personally anyway. Again, it's a perfect example for some people out there that a random bit of going out and having lunch might be just all they need. But for me, it doesn't feel like I've taken time off if I do that. I have to have a day in the future set that I can look forward to being off, and then be off.
Yeah. I think, well, that's another goal thing then, isn't it? It's like, I've got this coming, so you've got something to look forward to. Absolutely.
So
Right, let me just have a look in the chat.
wow, 184 people watching, which is
Wow.
insane. Yeah.
If you've just joined us, we've been talking about goals and is reselling for life, and just discussing that really about, do we think we're going to be resellers for life? Did we touch on that? I'm not sure we did. I mean,
kind of, but kind of.
did. I mean, I've never said that I'm going to do this exclusively forever, and if something comes up that excites me more or works better than this, or I'm going to follow it. It's as simple as that. But I love this with a passion still. I always have done. I wouldn't have done it for 15 years if I didn't enjoy it. But yeah, I'm
And
not.
I feel, I think, I mean, I posted this in the chat. I feel that it's always going to be there. But my aim would be eventually to make it just one of many incomes. I want to do more things than just one. You know, the whole point of working for yourself is that freedom, right? And you know, you've got freedom to earn by working for yourself. You've given yourself freedom to earn money in whichever way you want. Whereas when you work for a company, you can only earn money by doing a very specific role within that company. For example, you work for yourself, you can earn money however you like. So it would almost be a shame that you work for yourself, but you only ever earn money in one way. So I think it's just nice to have that in mind, if that made any sense whatsoever.
I was with you.
Just about.
I'm just trying to scroll to the end of the chat. Okay.
Oh god, it is nearly 7 o'clock.
Steve and Steph say we do SPD, spontaneous days off, and we do it often. There you go.
See, it works for them, but like for us, it just wouldn't. I think we have to have like something to look forward to and then be off. Like oh yeah. But then again, we've been trying that and it hasn't been working. So maybe we do need to just go with the spontaneous days off. We're gonna have to try both.
Karen says, I had a lovely chat with my post office manager today. He told me I was doing great and he admired how my parcels have increased since August when I started. And it felt good. So that's somebody completely out of the loop.
Wow.
Observing from the outside, just seeing the growth in your business. That's cool.
That is super cool.
I forgot to give the guys at my post office a Christmas gift this year. I think I'm going to pick up something tomorrow and take it in late. Completely slipped my mind.
Wow.
Okay. Will you take less? I aim to go full-time at some point, but the blank day sales would freak me out. How do you mentally cope with a blank day? Look at the month as a whole if you can.
Yeah.
Because you will get terrible days. Yeah, that comes with time. I don't think you can prepare yourself. I don't think anything anyone says will take that fear away from you when you earn nothing and you've still got the same bills going out.
Up till now, that's been the hardest thing, I think, is actually getting my head around the fact that I don't know what I'm going to be earning, you know, from one day to the next. Yeah, you have an idea, but it's so and I think the only way around it, like Nick's just said there, is to take the longer term view, because you'll actually find when you look at it on a monthly basis, things are a lot more consistent than you imagine. And especially, but again, not straight away. Like now that I've got a couple of years that I can look back on, it's really nice and it's comforting to be able to look back at, okay, what did I do in December last year and December the year before? Or what did I do this time, you know, this time in February last year compared to this February coming? You know, it can give you, you know, it gives you data, doesn't it? I mean, that's what it's about. It's about, then you can build a picture of how things work. But that will only come with time. In your first year, it's just a big adventure, and you just have to really be as calm as possible.
Yeah.
I know that.
And it is like an adventure. I mean, we call our channel or our Facebook page is Adventures in Reselling, because all of this is still an adventure for us.
Yeah.
You know, it's all new and we change things regularly and you never quite know where you're going or what you're going to do next. So if you can enjoy the ride, you've got it made.
I mean, like when I started this, I never thought I'd be like, you know, selling RC parts right now, for example. I mean, like literally, I did not know. I could never have put it down to that's going to be the majority of my inventory is
And
going to be RC. But you could never have guessed it.
but it's so random because it was almost put by chance you stumbled across that.
Yes,
It
completely.
could have so easily been you didn't pop in that shop that day,
Yeah,
and most of your
business has
industry would
changed
be
because of it.
completely different.
Yeah,
That's how random this job is.
yeah. Our whole business, Beck and I's whole business, has literally changed because we wanted to get some fresh air from visiting the family. We went down to the local shops, and bam! Suddenly, your business has changed.
Yeah.
Like it's
For the next 2 or 3 years, you're
yeah,
selling car parts.
yeah. It's insane. It's
Yeah.
literally insane.
I love that part of it. I really do. I was just reading Brian's post, which made me giggle. He says, I did a mega thrift haul the other day. Those are my work breaks, ironically. So to have a break and chill out, he goes and buys more stock. I get that, actually. I enjoy boot sailing. Boot sailing is like therapy for me. I just love that. I love the chase. And yeah, that's enjoyment. That's pleasure.
I've actually recently found my love for gaming again. And I'm really happy about that. Like I've found that I'm actually now able to relax by playing games again, which doesn't earn me any money, but I don't care. It's fun. I've actually been able to get back into that, which in itself is brilliant because again, when you work for yourself, you're like the first thing you'll do is like, I can't waste my time playing games. This is money earning time. For the first time, it's taken over 3 years. I can now justify to myself, spending an hour or two just playing games.
Are you streaming much? Because you've got a gaming channel, if people don't know.
Well, no, it's not a gaming channel. It's just my channel. Like I do sometimes. I sometimes stream, sometimes I don't. It depends really how I feel, to be honest. Sometimes I just like to get on and just mess around and play. But yeah, it's just fun. I'm glad that I can do that actually. If we've got 170 people, I think people clocking off now because it's time to go. It's 7:04. Can't believe an hour's gone so quickly.
Okay, well, we will wrap this one up shortly. I'm just having a look at the last few comments that have come in.
Yeah, sure, definitely.
Steve and Steph have gone. See you later, guys. It's jumped.
Where's jumps? Oh, got to go, mates. That's excellent. Yeah.
Oh, Kirsten's in there. Hi, Kirsten. Yeah, I'm like that with auctions. She loves auctions. It's like if part of your job is pure pleasure, I mean, what's better than that? I mean, most elements of reselling are pleasure to me. There's elements that are a bit dull and boring, but most of it I enjoy.
The thing is, you never know what you're going to like. I mean, I have to say, I've really not missed going to the car booths. I thought I'd really miss it. I'm literally like happy as a pig in muck at the moment. I feel like that. I feel like I'm fine. I can just just dive into another crate of something. I've not felt the need. Like I did, admittedly, we went like a few weeks ago when we got that Thin Lizzy jacket, but that was just, I don't know why we went, to be honest.
It's good to see that you've totally embraced this RC haul and you're just.
I've really, it's been a U-turn for me. Definitely, I'm completely like drowning myself in it and loving.
Results driven. That you're seeing the results and it's taken that to.
I think it's results driven, and I think it's Rebecca driven. I think she's bought like. I know it's going to sound really stupid, but even the way I was organizing the parts, like I was doing it in such a stupid way, like comparatively, and then like Rebecca came and she did a couple of parts, and the way she the way she organized the stock made it like it was like a like clouds opening moment, and it just and I kind of embraced it completely.
That's
like
interesting.
Yeah, it's so good to have that second pair of, it just made it so much more doable. Like suddenly it's like just having that second pair of eyes look at it, and like it was the way I was doing it was just so terrible. It was just, I can't say it, I couldn't have done it in a worse way. It was so stupid. I can't even but yeah, so really cool.
Okay. Mr. Sadie says, I want to buy more multiples this year, easy to list, steady income over and over. That's exactly what you're talking about. I mean, yeah,
Oh,
I
just
love it.
yeah, it's a revelation when you get into that side of things. It is just lovely to see that you're getting lots of sales come through in a day, yet your listed number of items doesn't drop because it's all multiples. It's just like, oh, yeah, or it drops by a couple because you're not going to have tons of everything. But
I think one thing that Andrew and I are going to do more of this year is this. We've thoroughly enjoyed going out, filling the car up with RA.
Oh yeah, that's the piles of RA.
Our numbers suffered this Q4. We did well, but nowhere near what we could have done because we weren't buying as much. So we've already reinvested a load of money. So we're going to be doing a lot more of that, I think. And we want to find an auction, but
that's an interesting way though, because you're going to be holding on to that, I suppose, for next peak season, or
most of this stuff, most of it, because it's cosmetics and it's gift sets and stuff. But not all of it. I've listed some already. Some's going up to Amazon now. But yeah.
Oh, cool.
The lion's share will be put in the loft. Start filling it up again.
Well, it's that comfort, isn't it? It's that you got through all that sports stuff, and
yeah.
Wow.
I've got a quick question we'll touch on, and then we'll sign off. Darren says, question: had any issues buying multiples of the same items in stores yet? Not this year. No, I have had some issues in the past. In fact, I've had staff going out of their way to help me. I've had offers to help me carry it to the car. It depends a lot how you approach it. Just be super, super friendly. Make up a story if it makes you feel better that you're buying it for, you've got a big family, all of that stuff.
Just use loads of this stuff. I absolutely can't get.
I've not had an issue. In fact, in one store, the woman was marking down a load of stuff. We showed interest and started clearing a product. She gave us it at a cheaper price because we were going to take all of it.
Wow, there you go.
We didn't even ask her to. So yeah, all good stuff. Right. Well, we have been on just over an hour. Thank you so much for joining us. We've still got 150 odd people in. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to yourselves here.
Yep, you too, Nick.
I wish you all the best and everybody in the chat. Yep. And we will be back next week on Zahir's channel. Perhaps we will talk about, the pros and cons of being self-employed, because that's a
huge topic, isn't it?
It is, and we've talked about it before, but there's so many new people in the community at large. We've got so many new subs each, so yeah, we'll cover that again and take some questions. Definitely. Thank you so much for your questions. I hope we answered a few. I know we're not that good at keeping up with the chat.
Doing our best.
Yeah, appreciate your time, Zahir. We'll speak to you soon.
Not at all. Thanks, everyone. See you later.
Bye.